In today's episode, we're discussing crypto resuming up-only mode, NFT NYC Recap, and other action taking place in the NFT market. As usual, nothing on here is financial advice. I'm taking the role of PO today, so I don't even remember all the things that he says, but also you know who's supporting this show, and that's FTX. You want to go over to the nifty.com/FTX if you're looking to trade crypto and now stocks, including fractional shares. Their mobile app is the best mobile app to do this. And if you download the mobile app, you want to use the code Nifty in order to, is it the Nifty or Nifty? That's a good question. I believe it's Nifty. Use the code Nifty, sign up on the mobile app. They'd appreciate it, and so would we. Captain Kicks, how are you doing today?
Doing as good as you can after a long week in New York City with not a lot of sleep, but lots of laughter and fun. A little bit of a recovery day, just trying to get my work catch up going on with crypto raiders and trying to get a pulse on this market, Nick, as well. How about you?
I'm doing the same, although I'm not involved with crypto raiders. It's back to business, and we have things that need to be done. Who did that hot dog hat, by the way? I remember us getting those.
I'm blanking on his name, but he was at the Nifty Portal show on Monday. He's an awesome dude, and just straight hooked it up. And I just want, if he's listening, and I want him to know that I've been wearing it nonstop. So he's getting a lot of good advertising out of this.
A lot of people are asking, where's PO? He's gone. We sort of blocked him from the show moving forward. Just kidding. He is moving into his new apartment right now. Out of the attic, into the new apartment, which is next door to this. So that's what he's doing.
And I'm just going to go out there and make a big assumption. Considering he hasn't moved in a while, he probably made a big rookie mistake, which is not calling ahead in getting the internet connection hooked up before you move in. Real rookie mistake.
I think the internet connection may be a situation. You may be right about that, actually. He didn't have any other stuff. He also wasn't in the best mood after a few nights of partying and hanging out late. So it's been a situation for him. I did check it out, though. He has a lovely place, and he got a great deal on it. Great deal being New York prices, so to the rest of the world, it's absurd. I figured it would be useful to bring up the ETH price action just to see kind of what's going on right now, so we can discuss kind of the reason starting with crypto instead of NFTs is this is really driving everything in the market at this point in time. The best thing would actually be to pull up the S&P 500. That would be the action to go after. And we've had a nice run, and it looks like into the close, and ended up at the high point at the end of the day. These sorts of gaps are crazy. You don't see this on the crypto charts, but all gaps supposedly end up closing. We had such a disastrous. This is the hourly. I'll zoom out for a moment just to see where things were. We're off. So 4,800 all the way down to 3,600. That's not too bad. That's 25% pullback. And so we haven't had a solid relief rally yet. Even this feels kind of weak. We're not yet at that place. That said, the volume isn't awful. And I mean, volume is relative, and stupid trading view makes it difficult to figure this out. But I think crypto is just a high beta correlation for the most part right now to the S&P.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, if you look over at like what happened like going into June, like pretty much identical kind of move, right? Where we dumped and then it does this like half retrace really quickly, and then it dumped again further. So that's why when I was messaging you earlier today, I feel like we're like sort of in no man's land where it may be more gambling than like actual, like, you feel super confident in a direction because, we got absolutely whacked, especially the past couple of weeks. So it's not too surprising to me that we saw this, improvement in volume improvement in price. Also, specifically on the crypto side, we got whacked even harder, likely due to the forced selling of assets because of the whole 3AC blow up and Luna blow up. So yeah, it's tough to call a direction here. I think the potential bullish case is that we get another couple of weeks of like a relief rally in both equities and in crypto. I think the bearish case you can make is that a lot of altcoins are making moves, but Bitcoin is kind of looking a little anemic. And usually, my understanding at least is that like if everything's pumping, but Bitcoin is kind of anemic, that's not always a good sign. So.
Well, and look at the volume. Like this rally is on still. This has just been low action. All of the high volume has been around. It looked like running it up and then subsequently dumping it. So I mean, but we've just haven't seen a ton of volume. I'm watching. I drew this line today. This is the level I'm watching. Somewhere around 1250. You can move this down, up. I don't know, but that's the level that I'm looking at. The other level is way up here, around like anywhere in this range. 1900 would be the high end of that. But I'm just I'm looking at those items or those points on the chart, I guess. Levels is the word I was looking for. So that's kind of what I'm watching at the moment. And this is really what's driving everything. When we went into this dump here, this is when, we saw Cryptopunks hitting that low this past weekend or 1 week ago. I think that and that's around when I picked up one. I don't think this is necessarily the last time, and we don't have any indicator in any direction at this point. And like you said this morning on our morning show, it could be anybody. Like it's anybody's game at this point in time, or like anybody's guess as to where this is headed. We could see this ramp up here, get rejected, and drop further. And that's the great part of crypto is we get those high.
And you almost get kind of max pain scenarios where we rip up to 1800. And people that miss that entire move are like, F this, we're back in a bull run. And they go in at 1800. And then we set a new low at like 734 3 months later, and they're just just investing in general. A lot of times these like max pain scenarios play off. I mean, if you did have the gonads to buy some of these absolute dips, I mean, there's been some pretty insane returns for 1 week's period of time. If you bought Matic 5 days ago, you're up 90%.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up that chart right now, which is
pretty
bonkers. Crazy. Yeah, so you can buy down here, 32 cents, up to 60. So yeah, that's an insane run. What's their what was their high? Their high was like $2, right? $3,
$2.80 maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, almost $3. So yeah, $2.90. I mean, that's pretty crazy. This is one, although see, they're headed towards one of these resistance levels also. It'll be interesting to see. We're at nothing. This is the only one, although it does seem like this is ramping on up volume, so that's good, but it's still missing. The market has kind of taken a break, and we're headed into summer here. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where this all heads. I want to shift over to the NFT side of things, which we can pull up to kind of give the rundown on that. And maybe discuss some of our, then we'll get to NFT NYC, which I'm curious to discuss more about here, which we haven't done on YouTube. For the YouTube audience, this is the video YouTube audience, and I guess if you're watching on Twitter video. The action over here, and actually what's maybe worthwhile taking a look at as well, is just the Opensea volume. It's just down. So we have 14.7 million. I mean, I don't know. Has it hit that? That's the lowest that it's been, literally at all. So like, Yeah, 14.8 million is not a great number. Although when you do that times 365, so we're down to 5.4 billion annual run rate, down from 7.5 last week. So yeah, this is still not looking great. And the general thesis here, that's why we've spent so much time on the crypto side. I think people are waiting to see how that materializes. And above that, the S&P market, before there's big moves on the NFT side outside of the regular daily activity. Do you want, like, what are your thoughts right now on this, on like the overall NFT market? Are you making any moves whatsoever? And if, well, yeah.
Well, I actually think that NFTs are potentially a safer bet on ETH than ETH itself. Because I do think that when these get to certain prices, people that are sitting in USDC are just going to gobble them up. And I think that you're not going to see like a ton of dumping if ETH like runs up to 200, if ETH runs up to 2000, I don't think Moonbirds go to like 14 or 12. I think they can actually hold their ETH price. But if ETH goes from where it is now to 700, I think Moonbirds will still hold their ETH floor and potentially go up. So I consider NFTs, especially the good projects, I consider it as potentially a lower risk, higher return bet on Ethereum. Now, that is not like scientifically proven. So please don't like take that snippet and be like, oh, I'm going to go buy some NFTs because it's like a guaranteed beta return on Ethereum. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying my personal intuition. I think like Moonbirds going from 40 ETH to 20 ETH, it's because Moonbirds just went on an insane run to 40. And this is kind of just their priced in ETH pullback. Same argument with Mutants. Same argument with Bored Ape Yacht Club. We've seen Bored Ape Yacht Club sit at like 90 ETH for a few weeks now, regardless of the volatility between of Ethereum itself. Mm-hmm. So and you made a great Cryptopunks play, which I think is actually the perfect example of what the effect that I am talking about, which is that people set their CryptoPunk buys in USDC, right? And because of ETH pulling back, once it hit that USDC price target, then it made pretty much a 30% rip in ETH off of the floor. Mm-hmm. So I think you can apply that thesis to other strong NFT projects as well. So I'm definitely starting now to explore more potential like blue chip buys, like maybe potentially a Clone X at these prices. But yeah, so I'm feeling overall like fairly good about NFTs. I also think going to NFT NYC made it pretty clear that a lot of people in this space are like really bullish on the long term. And I don't think that if they haven't sold yet, they're going to sell anytime soon. I think that most people are of the opinion that they're just going to diamond hand it to the next run at this point. They're not going to like dump at these prices. So
I completely agree. And yeah, the overall vibe there was really positive. There wasn't really a lot of conversation about the bear market, to be completely honest. I mean, it's sort of just like, yeah, that's what's going on. And there's plenty of people that have generated capital that are still investing in building businesses, ourselves included, and that's what we're focused on. So it doesn't matter if market go up or go down. It does for some businesses. I spoke with at least one founder who's probably low on cash and said that it's now even more difficult to raise funding, especially the amount that they were trying to raise. I think even Series A's are at risk to a certain degree. So the broader capital markets have not necessarily opened back up in the past 2 weeks. They've stayed fairly closed. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these companies, like who ends up developing what. That said, Doodles revealed their duplicator. So that was a big announcement for Doodles V2. They also, and someone was just tweeting at me about this, it sounds like maybe what they're introducing there is dynamic NFTs. I've been having this conversation basically for the past week and I keep bringing it up on the show, which is I think that is genuinely the next phase. The last phase was PFPs, and that still exists, but you got to be thinking forward about like what's actually, where the opportunity is going to be. And it seems like that's an area that's particularly interesting. It's just a lot more complicated. It requires a lot more development, and it goes against a lot of traditional, art-based NFT approaches. Someone asked if the title is a joke, and it kind of is. Yeah, NFT NYC is not the thing driving the crypto market. You got me.
And I actually read the title as "Crypto Resumes Up Only Thanks to NFT NYC," meaning lots more people applying for jobs in crypto.
I like that. That's a more accurate assessment. I don't think you're wrong about it. I think you nailed it. So I don't know. It's interesting to observe. I've wanted to add more. I mean, I'm still in the buying market for some of these things. The other one is we had art blocks running. What the biggest one I guess would be Fidenza. I haven't seen how that's been running. And then also the one that I've been long saying on the show and now pissed off. This floor had gone down to 50, and now it's back at 83. So your ETH accumulation thesis is right. Like we see some sales here for 60 ETH all to offers. But that's now going back up, although the USD value, not that huge. This one, wow, 100 ETH. That's a nice one. It's Chromie Squiggles is the other one I'm looking at, which is, this had a floor of 5. Now has a floor of 9. So we're seeing Squiggles mooning here. Are there any that you're looking at buying right now?
Well, I mean, I think Doodles has by far the best activations, real life activations in the game. Just the production value that they put into these things is like insane. So it's kind of hard to be like bearish on them when they have like that production quality on their team. Like, I don't know if you saw, they had this like little like live minting thing. It was just programmed and set up really well. I do have a little bit of concerns of their potential ambition level with what they're trying to accomplish.
Which project?
Doodles.
Oh, I didn't see their minting. No.
Yeah, they just had these like live activations at their event where you were like at this like almost looks like an old school computer, and you like pressed a button, then you like moved the lever down, then another lever down, then another lever down, then you like twisted a wheel and you like live minted a duplicopter. Which I thought was like pretty badass. And I know that their South by Southwest activation was like incredibly good as well. So like from that side, it makes me super bullish on the team. I haven't done the full research on what they announced or revealed, but it seemed like it was like really aggressive like roadmap. Like they're going to build their own chain, and they're going to like make it so that everybody on Earth can have like their own avatar. And I'm just not sure.
It may be a bit ambitious.
And I think like when you saw with like Cool Cats, I think Cool Cats kind of showed some projects that like less is more sometimes, like where if you like try to do too much and too ambitious, then like that expectation kind of gets priced into your project's value. And then if it doesn't hit, then you can actually go like lower than you would have gone if you just didn't announce anything. So I still got to do some more research. I'm torn on that. I still feel really confident on Clone X just because of their integration with Nike and just like the things that they've been doing. And also the price just seems like really, really good. You know what I mean? The one thing I always have to keep in mind is that's out of 20,000, not out of 10,000. So if you want to compare that project to like Moonbirds, you need to times the floor price by 2 to get yourself like an accurate comparison. So sometimes it seems like stupid undervalue, but it's really priced at the same level as Moonbirds. Definitely sort of interested with Moonbirds. Quad, who owns a Moonbird, said there's going to be a lot happening in the next 60 or 90 days with Moonbird. So there's a potential play there as well. I do like your art thesis, but I think that move has already started.
Yeah.
Definitely not that it's finished, but I think that, the easy opportunity probably was a week or two ago on that one. But I guess you can argue the same with like, Clone X. It was down at 7, now it's up to 11. So there's been moves across the board. Yeah, look at that big run up. Someone talked about what's Gossamer Seeds. I don't know, man. There seems to be a lot of hype around that, and the floor is at 0.5, which is cool. It was also a free mint, which makes me interested, but also hesitant. I guess it's some sort of studio. They're doing some sort of studio thing. I don't know how they'll integrate it into Web3, but they're looking to do it. But definitely an interesting project for sure. But yeah, just in general, I'm not moving quick on the markets, but I do think that there's opportunities where if you want to bet on ETH anyways, it's better to buy like a blue chip NFT project.
Yeah, most definitely. And we saw that with one of the Cryptopunk sales recently. I wonder if it shows up on, I'm assuming it would show up on their website with the recent transactions. I think you can do sales. One of these was sold for, is this the one? Yeah, 825. I think this may be the one. Sold for 825. Previously, no, it hadn't been sold yet. Wow, okay. So this person had never sold. That's a big one. Zombie for 867,000 is actually a reasonable amount. There was another one I saw the other day that was sold for a large quantity, but they ended up just gaining an ETH, but losing $9 million in USD or something like that, which is an absurd situation. See any of them on this page, so maybe it's on the next page, but it was someone had mentioned it on the show. Oh, here's one. So some of these, the general idea is if you want to go long ETH here, then selling your NFT at a US dollar loss, it may actually be a great move because you can get a tax write-off and then also collect ETH and turn that into a long-term hold for that. So this one was sold for 355,000, sold for almost the same price in USD, but for 2x the amount of ETH. This previously had a bid of 1.4 million. So this person missed out on some upside opportunity. But yeah, anyways,
cash.
People are trying to get cash, and that's just something that generally you want in this market. People that have cash have the ability to buy right now. And now is definitely a good buying time.
There's
I don't
your
know.
Buy right there, dude. Look at that.
Where?
Sexy.
Oh, here's mine. Now it shows 116,000. That's crazy. It was 90,000 the other day, and I moved it over in USD. So I literally bought it at 91,000. So yeah, now that's worth 115,000, and that's
it's worth that. Not assuming that it's more valuable now, which you could say,
which it is. Yeah. So it's gone up in value. This so far that it's looking like a good buy. Like that was potentially.
Yeah, that was like pretty close to Pico buying the bottom.
Yeah. So hopefully that ends up looking like that in hindsight. I also just really like it. I've actually been debating it didn't seem like the right day to ask a poll on which PFP I should be wearing, to be completely honest, on Twitter. But something I've been personally debating is which of those are better, Bored Ape or more baller, Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk to have. So anyways, that's the state on this. Maybe we can keep things short and then sort of wrap this up with sort of our take on NFT NYC and what your thoughts on that was.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun at NFT NYC. It was awesome meeting like all of these different people in the Portal community that we've like talked to all the time. but like haven't seen in real life. And it's cool. Everyone's pretty much like the same as they are online, personality wise, but it's cool to put a face to a name and have some drinks and spend some time together. In terms of like the events themselves, I thought it was, really cool. And I also think that the overall energy of everybody there was super positive, despite price being down. Mm-hmm. I do think there was a lot more alcoholism at this event because price was down, but that's okay. Everyone copes in different ways. But I honestly had a great time, and it makes me feel more long-term bullish. Not that I wasn't long-term bullish, but even more like long-term bullish, because all of the people I met and I talked to, I feel like this is something that they like truly believe in. So it's not, the people that were NFT NYC aren't in it for the short-term money. You know what I mean? At least most of them. I think most of the people I've met are definitely here for the long haul. And yeah, just lots of great conversations. So, I left very tired, but very optimistic.
I agree with that. I echo your sentiments. And I also think so we had a live show and we had an in-person event. Frankly, that was one of the biggest highlights for me of the entire week, was really the opportunity to meet a lot of people from our audience and community who I haven't met before. Unfortunately, there were so many people there, I didn't get to have long, extensive conversations with basically anybody. I saw you sitting down on the couch and not connecting with a lot of people, though. So, I mean, that's all good. To each their own. Like, each person, sort of rolls the way that they want. My approach was one of connecting with everybody. So I got to shake a lot of hands and take selfies. We'll find out if COVID was part of that. But
I've gotten COVID so many times, I'm immune at this point. So if I had it, I've already shaken it off. So we'll see.
There we go. But the live show, I mean, that was great. So shout out to you if you did come to our live show. We really appreciate it. We did stream it live to YouTube again. We're going to do something like that again, and I'm going to discuss with Pio hosting some events in New York, because there were a lot of New York people who were at NFT NYC. So I think that that's something that we can do more of in the future, is some smaller meetups and or live shows that don't require renting out entire venues around NFT NYC.
Yeah,
just because the community has been great. And
yeah, it was a lot of fun. And if you are on the show but you don't listen to the morning show, then you may have missed that the event was at a place called DGen Arcade, and they literally have these arcade machines with like little Pokemon balls almost that have NFT QR codes inside, so you can actually win NFTs, and it's like 0.2 ETH to gamble, not to try to win one of these. And Nick was nice enough to, like, anyone was there. We got like 10 free spins or 20 free spins. We covered the spins. And one of the members in our community, NFT God, won a 10 ETH Meebit. And then, of course, Nick and Easy Eats, instead of graciously giving the spins to people in our community, took the spins for themselves, and they both won Space Pod. So I think we may have walked away net up on our bets, which was really funny. Cruz Bob said next time he'll be there and cigars are on me. Sounds great.
Bring some Cubanos, because, I didn't get to have a cigar with Gentle Tornado, but that had to do with the fact that I wasn't out till 3 a.m. So
yeah, I heavily regret that night, but it was it was fun at the time. It was fun at the time.
That I realized that so I don't drink, but I did drink. I had a couple of shots the night of our event. I had one before, and then I had one later that evening. And then another day I had a drink as well. And after the second day of doing it, I realized, I was like, it's a slippery slope before I'm out hanging with Captain Kicks at 3 or 4 a.m. getting just wrecked and feeling like awful the next day. And not to put Pio's business out there, but he wasn't looking so hot today. When I saw him, I was like, damn, dude.
Yesterday when I woke up for the morning show, like, I was listening in. Pio thought I had like got on my flight yet. I had it, and I was laying in bed. I was just like too physically weak to like even think about speaking. So I just kind of like laid there half asleep for an hour and a half. Then I went to the airport where my flight was delayed. They said they delayed it by 45 minutes, then said, okay, we got to do some inspections. Then they found a missing part. They said, we got to go fix it. Then they said, oh, we didn't have the part at our airport. I mean, who stocks those at airports? So they had to fly it in on another plane. Then they said, never mind, we found another plane. We're going to taxi it over here. Then they said, we actually haven't heard about that airplane taxiing for over an hour now. Then they found it again. Hours later, we got on our plane ride home. So I had a long day yesterday. I fell asleep before.
Oh, you cut out.
I fell asleep before midnight for the first time in 6 days, which was phenomenal. Got a nice night of sleep. Currently trying to kick a full-blown nicotine addiction that I brought on, trying to stay awake and alive for all of NFT NYC. But I feel like by Sunday, I'm going to be back in the game. I'm going to be sliding into NFT Nick's DMs, just asking him the play-by-play on ETH prices, because that's really going to dictate my moves. Because if we do get another leg down in ETH, I think that's where you will probably get the best buying opportunity for blue chip NFTs that will materialize in the next couple of years, because you will catch one more capitulation wave. You'll catch one more wave of people just freaking out and just dumping while ETH is at low prices. And that will be like the golden buy-in opportunity of all time, maybe, on these projects.
Well, and what's awesome this time is that is all of us, and it's us on the stream, but then everyone who's at the event, that's what we're looking at. We now have this larger audience of people, of buyers that are sustaining the prices of these assets. And that, to me, is something that's huge. Like, because the name of the game is if people all leave and suddenly this market is like the worst case scenario is what everyone, sort of one of the counter arguments that a lot of people would say is like to NFTs is it's just a fad. And that you could have said the same thing about crypto as well, I guess, years back. But like crypto's still going. We're still trading it. People are making money. There's still action in the market. And then now on the NFT side, we've gone through one whole cycle with NFTs, the pump, the dump, and inevitably some piece of them are going to survive and thrive during the next cycle. So if you're looking at the BTC and the ETH of the next cycle, which is what everyone looks towards, to me, it's Cryptopunks, Bored Ape Yacht Club. It'll be interesting to see. The one difference is a token doesn't really need to change. I mean, Ethereum has ETH 2.0, Bitcoin has Lightning, and there are upgrades that are happening to both of these different projects or blockchains, but they don't need to really change as much, like for the trading action. For NFTs, there is trading that goes down based on the actual so-called fundamentals. And the fundamentals in this case are the underlying businesses, not their financials, although that does probably correlate in some way to the NFT price. But largely, what their execution is and what they end up revealing. And that aspect of things, it almost to me feels like the difference is with Doodles is they're trying to get creative and they're saying, hey, they're now selling you on a vision, which was not previously defined. Bored Ape Yacht Club started with the roadmap and then executed on that specific thing. That was the playbook from before. Cryptopunks just had no roadmap whatsoever, and we've seen a lot of projects like that. So it'll be interesting to see which of these survive because there's more variables to them than crypto itself. There's nothing changed. What was the driving thing that drove the driver behind this massive crypto bull run? Well, it was the Federal Reserve printing a bunch of money. I mean, like that, and people being at home with COVID. Like, I don't know if we're going to see that. We don't know what the next thing is going to be that triggers that run. But like people went back to this as an asset class that had just completely left. So I'll be interested to see, how this what that next catalyst is that gets us out of that, that turns us around, or if this just becomes now officially just a high beta correlated risk asset that correlates to the S&P 500.
Yeah, and I definitely think that you'll probably see both scenarios, right? Like you'll see, just like in the normal markets, right? Like you'll see scenarios where it's kind of just this big bull run and everything pumps. I think we'll see that again with NFTs, but we're also very likely to see these extended periods of times where like a lot of projects maybe don't move, but like a select few make big moves up or big moves down, depending on what's happening. Especially if there's no money printer coming on in the next couple of years, like you said, right? It's definitely wouldn't be surprising for us to see pockets of 3 to 6 months where ETH is relatively flat. Most NFT projects are relatively flat, right? But there's these, golden opportunities that are, driven by, different catalysts. I'm very curious to see how these different blue chip NFT projects try to generate those catalysts and try to expand. Mm-hmm. I still do believe that the highest gains will be made by new projects, but it's not easy necessarily to identify those new projects. Like, for example, these Gossamer Seeds, actually, like if you did a little bit of research when they came out, it was a pretty good place. It was a free mint. Then it was sitting at like 0.14. If you did some research, like the studio behind it is pretty legit. They've won multiple Academy Awards. And now that's up at like 0.5, right? So like even if you didn't mint it for free, that's a pretty easy like 3x right there. You're going to find 3x's like that in new projects way easier than you're going to find a 3x in any existing project out there. I firmly believe that.
Mm-hmm. These look really cool. I mean, the quality of this is nuts.
Yeah, and it's made by a legit studio. And I guess these things have been like evolving over a period of time. So they didn't always look like this. The like PFP has been kind of like updating. But yeah, if you go to follow Gossamer and then you click on the studio from Braun Studios. I
mean, just look at these shots. I don't know what this is. But this actually goes down the path of what we were saying on the show with Goblin Town, with the ability to develop narrative. These studios have a massive potential of doing this. And we said this before, why wouldn't a studio that's making low margin switch to a model that gives them very high margin? And the answer to that is they wouldn't ignore that. They're going to jump into this space. And they're going to go and get high margin. So you're going to see more and more of this, I think. Now, I don't know what the storyline is. I haven't taken time to actually research that.
Yeah, like the studio itself is legit and has won multiple Academy Awards. I think some of the reason why it's pumping, and M123 mentioned this, but like some people were like, oh yeah, these guys have like a deal with Epic Games, which is Unreal Engine. And if you do like 5 minutes of research, that's just like not true at all. They're just using Unreal Engine, which like half of all games use. So it's not really significant. This is sort of along the same lines of like people that, read one sentence and then like misinterpret it and try to run with it. But regardless, the studio itself looks legit. They've mentioned doing this digital work, and they've been working with building an Unreal Engine since last year. So I do think that it's, this is kind of what we're talking about, right? When we talk about the potential for like NFTs to innovate, right? And kind of like synergize between industries that we haven't seen yet. So like we haven't seen like a legit studio, kind of take this approach. M123 says, okay, but they do have Forrest Whitaker as voice actor for animation. I mean, he's a pretty good B or C list actor, so I'm sure he's very hireable by a studio of this degree.
Degree? What is that word? I don't know. I'm not even familiar with the definition of that word.
To this degree?
Oh, degree. I thought you said dukery. I'm like, what is dukery?
No, I was just literally saying, like, I would hope that a studio that has worked with Kevin Hart to make Fatherhood on Netflix could hire Forrest Whitaker. I would hope they'd be able to pull that one off. But I mean, this is a legit looking studio, right? And they did a free to mint NFT project, and they're saying that this is like some sort of like new thing that they're coming out with that is going to merge like Web3 and studios. So definitely an interesting one to keep an eye on. And I think this is like perfect example of like the innovation that we'll probably see in NFTs over the next couple of years. So this is definitely an interesting one to keep like an eye out for, because like an actual movie studio that's been around since 2010 and has done like real production, you would have to think that they have the potential. Like if Goblin Town, and no disrespect to Goblin Town, if Goblin Town can go to 4 ETH, like, don't you think it's possible that like an actual legit movie studio that's been around since 2010 can make a similar kind of run, right? Like if they do the project right. Aaron saying it's a game. Maybe it is. I'm not sure.
Whatever they're developing, in terms of price action has, I think, a lot more to do with the speculation and how speculators are behaving in that market. And so that's the audience whose hearts and minds you have to capture, frankly. Once they start running, and they've already had 2.2 thousand of ETH in volume, which is pretty decent. That's more than our project, I think.
They're saying it's an MMORPG, which honestly to me is actually bearish because I don't think that there's a ton of people in the NFT space that actually want to like grind out an MMORPG.
But I don't understand why they'd be doing that. Like it doesn't say it's a virtual production and service company utilizes Unreal Engine to develop animation. Oh, interactive games. They do develop interactive games as well. Man, I actually...
And that shot right there, like that shot a little bit up, if you scroll up a little bit, that one right there, like looks kind of like the art that they're previewing for this current thing.
Well, I actually, I'm not interested in a full-blown game.
I was more interested when it was like maybe like a interactive
storytelling or something like that. I think that's so underrated right now, is the ability to do narrative and do story development. We haven't even seen that. Like, we've barely touched the surface. Goblin Town was telling stories for a couple of weeks, and then they revealed themselves. We have no more storyline. Like, there's no other storyline remaining for that project.
And maybe they do plan on doing something like this. Like, maybe it is like an interactive experience that is kind of like an MMORPG, but like when I think of MMORPG, like you got to grind like 20 hours a week to be like decent at an MMORPG, right? And like I do Crypto Raiders all day. Like the vast majority of Crypto Raiders players are like a good amount of them have NFT exposure, but like all of them are like gamers and have been playing RPGs their whole life. Versus like if you try to intersect that audience with like NFTs in general, there's a good amount of gamers in there, but like I'm not massively bullish on just like every project under the sun trying to do MMORPG. But hey, who knows? We don't know what they're actually going to do. But at the very least, I think what they've done so far is like really awesome and exciting. Like legit studio with 12 years experience in business, does a free to mint, is doing something cool in this space, and the floor is at 0.5 ETH. Like, what else could we want to see in a bear market in terms of like innovation and new things happening? So I'm a big fan of this so far.
What I was going to say is one of the commenters asked if this was two dolphins humping, and I just wanted to address that real quick. That is a negatory. What this is what appears to be a mother and child dolphin. So if that's what you were thinking was the case, get your mind out of the damn gutter. Okay? Like that's just disturbing and disgusting, and that you would treat a parent-child relationship in that manner is absolutely disgusting. I also forgot to share our video with the Discord, so I waited until the end of the show, so that's good. Anything else on this matter? We were discussing our takeaways from NFT NYC and ended up on this project, which now
Jay
I'm
Bird
like,
said it's actually a conjoined dolphin, so it's a Siamese twin dolphin, not a mother.
I don't think that. No, those they look too independent, and I'm familiar with these two dolphins. Actually,
Okay.
I've met them before in the ocean, and I know definitively this is Martha and her baby dolphin, Luis. And
Mr. Long has now apologized for taking us down this path. He's like, sorry, we've gone down this path of potentially conjoined dolphins. Anyways, Nick, to wrap things up, you talked a little bit about it, but just how was your experience at NFT NYC in general? Loved it?
I think that NFT NYC was great. I was stressed out because we were hosting events, and events for me are very stressful. So rather than just attending a conference where I have zero responsibilities and obligations, like when we went to VCon, I got to speak, I got to walk around, I didn't have to do a damn thing in terms of obligations that we had. We hosted a morning show on Monday. We hosted a cocktail party on Tuesday. We had a team lunch on Thursday, although there was nothing to do there, so that wasn't stressful. But the cocktail party involved a ton of stress, and so what I didn't do was I didn't plot anything out. But simultaneously, it wasn't. I went to one other event yesterday, which was really great. Claire Silver had hosted for the whole week an art gallery. And she had mentioned it the other night at the awards ceremony that we were at, and so I had to go check it out, and it was super dope. Like the gallery she had was just like this beautiful spot in Soho, and I think Elizabeth Street Park, and it makes me want to host an event there, just because it was a great vibe. So that was fun. Apefest was there for like an hour and a half. That was fun. The overall, went to NFT NYC for like literally an hour and just for our panel. I kind of wish I'd had the chance to go there. There were a lot of people that were hating on NFT NYC, but a lot of those people also weren't at the event. And so there was a lot of hate going on, but I got to check it out. And I think it played an important role. All of these side events wouldn't exist had it not been for NFT NYC.
Yeah, I saw some pretty weird takes where people are trashing on NFT NYC, and it's like, it's the reason why we were all here. So even if I did not intend, I am very thankful for them getting all of us together. And big shout out to Nick, man. I know you put a ton of work in on the Mr. Purple event. And you knocked it out of the ballpark, dude. So great job on that. I had the time of my life. That was my favorite time on the whole trip.
Awesome. Yeah. And we appreciate everyone joining. We're going to do more of that. And we also have now that that's out of the way, there's two other projects, or a couple more than that we've been working on, that we can get going. So really excited. Thank you to everyone for joining. And, remember, smash the subscribe, lick the like, and we'll see you in the next episode, which I'm guessing Pio does one tomorrow. I don't know. Kind of just skip.
He looks really physically and mentally weak the last time I saw him. So maybe you and me again tomorrow.
Yeah, skipped a large portion of it this week, but he's going to be back, raring, ready to go. Moving into the new apartment this weekend may be a stretch because I think he's going back today, coming back here tomorrow. So we'll see how this goes. But otherwise, we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for joining, and have a great week.